afternoon, Fed Nation, LinkedIn, YouTube. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you need to sit back and get ready for this very special live session of Fired Up. We got the flames blazing behind us. Hopefully you had your reminders set and you're all going to start joining. I see people filtering in already.
Yes.
So we're not going to belabor the point. We're going to get this thing going. I have with me two innovators, and we are going to chop it up today. We're going to talk skilled trades. We're going to talk technology. And throughout this process and conversation, make sure you throw your questions into the comment section so we can answer them live for you here on the air. Without further ado, I'm going to bring in Josh Zolin, CEO of Windy City Equipment. There he is. And Aaron Salow, CEO of XOI Technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the men of the hour. Guys, I'm going to give you a few seconds here each for the 6 people that don't know who you are to introduce yourself. We'll start with Josh.
Yeah, Rich, thanks so much for having me on. And Aaron, always great to see you, buddy. For those who don't know who I am, I'm the CEO of Windy City Equipment here in Phoenix and author of Blue is the New White. Aaron, on you, buddy.
Yes. Good afternoon from Nashville, Tennessee. I have a guitar in that corner that I'm not going to play, but I am sitting in Nashville to represent CEO and founder of XOI Technologies. Excited to connect with you boys here today and chat.
Yes, sir. So again, just for the people watching, remember, put your questions in the comments. There's no right or wrong time. Throw them in now. We'll tackle them as the live goes on. And I think we'll just start off by kind of jumping into the technology talk, because Josh has been implementing technology and different things into his business for a while. And I know Aaron has, along with us early this year, starting to implement some of this stuff. Let's talk a little bit about XOI, because I don't know who knows about it, who doesn't. Let's talk a little bit about that and the technology, Josh, how that's kind of transforming your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been utilizing XOI now for what, Aaron, 3 years?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, about 3 years. And took us a little bit to pull the trigger, but once we did, it was unbelievable. It was one of those situations, right, where, you look at it, you see how cool it is, and it's like, man, I wish I could do this. And then once you do, you don't understand how you ever lived without it. And what's amazing is my technicians feel the same way, right? Which I think is probably on the top of everybody's mind. Like, how is this kind of stuff going to be adopted by my team? But once you can combine that innovativeness with the ease of use, I mean, what it does for the organization is fantastic, right? So now we use XOI on a daily basis to first and foremost, be able to take video of all the repairs and quotations, estimates, all of that stuff that we do, and send it right off to the customer, because notes can only take you so far, right? It's that video aspect that the customers look at it and they say, holy cow, I'm actually seeing and hearing everything that the technician is. So it eliminates 98% of the questions that we were getting previously, right? And then the other interesting part was what it actually did for the other technicians in the field, right? A lot of times, especially in this space, as you guys probably know, one technician goes out, maybe there's a callback, maybe there's something else that needs to be done. Another technician follows. Hopefully there's not a third and fourth trip after that, right? But if there is, they have the ability to now see these videos, see everything that the previous tech did. So there's not that back and forth communication over the phone or email or text message or however it was done before, so it really empowers all the technicians to be able to utilize that video to communicate relentlessly, which is so imperative, in our industry, with tech scattered out all over the city, all over the markets, all over the states, and sometimes all over the country. So just fantastic, and it completely changed the way that we do business. Sorry, that was a mouthful.
Yeah, no, I mean, but you're hitting on a lot of good points I think people need to understand. So, and Aaron, to talk about Josh's, points on putting these tools in the technician's hands to drive sales and stuff. But what are you guys seeing because you guys are in a couple of different industries like HVAC, and what are you guys seeing on that uptick of selling? Because we're in business here.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's it's interesting. I always zoom out a little bit when talking about XOI, because I think for anyone that's listening, looking at simplifying it. For me, it's always trying to look at, like, what's the simple reason why something's working or not working. And I think the interesting thing is that we have had this kind of transparency throughout the rest of our lives. I will jokingly say in a presentation, I get better visibility on my Domino's pizza order and my Valvoline instant oil change than I do a $5,000 service request. Why is that? Well, I'm depending on a human being who's super busy. This is not to diminish technicians. 130-degree heat index, sweating their ass off, trying to, with the fire. I made a good reference with the fire in the background. They're trying to get work done. And the idea is like, hey, yeah, I came and fixed it. Are the notes you got? You're welcome. I got to go to the next customer. And that's understandable. But at the end of the day, the customer is like, hey, I want to understand visibility on what's happening, because I don't understand what you guys do, right? They don't understand what we do in this market. And so the ability to bring that visibility in, it's the same thing as the oil change stuff we saw years ago. Guy used to come up from the Bay, covered in tattoos, burning a heater, right? And he's like, hey, you need these 16 things. And you go, yeah, but you change oil, we're good, right? Yeah, we're good. Okay, cool. I don't trust really that you're telling me I really need all these things. And so it's twofold. It's building trust and transparency, and then going, hey, I know Josh runs his business with integrity and character already, but he also has new customers who don't know that yet. And he's bidding against other people, right? So he's going, hey, you know what? You don't have to worry if I'm going to be a contractor that screws you. I'm just going to show you every time. I'm going to justify it every single time. So then he can get his foot in the door and build his customer base. And over time they go, oh, Josh's company has a lot of integrity, character. I can trust these guys. So those are just a few things to think about. It's the ethos you built your company on already. And so whether you use XOI or anything else, that's the core of where we believe the industry needs to head, and frankly is lagging behind other industries in that way.
Yeah. Now, and also before we continue, so Taz is in the room. I get Aaron. He wants to know, what are the most users you have on one single enterprise? If you have that information, I don't know.
Yeah, just over 5,000.
Wow.
On one single. Yep. So, and then everything from a one tech shop to 5,000, everything in between.
Yeah. So, and that's a good point. Like, these things are customizable. Like, Josh said in the beginning, like, you have these technicians, and sometimes you get the pushback, or are they going to adapt to it? And for us, the same thing. There was a lot of talk of like, oh, I don't know if we should jump in on this. Rich, you're already having us do these other 3 things. Like, this was seamless for us. The guys actually really love it, because I have one tech that always says CYA, cover your ass. This actually gives them real capabilities to do that. So yeah, I mean, for us, trust and transparency has been, that differentiator, because we're all looking for differentiators. I think I talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
This is an ultimate differentiator.
And you know what? Honestly, these technicians, they take a lot of pride in what they do already, right? And they want to be able to show somebody how good of a job they did. And so, even if there's a little bit of resistance at first, just because they don't know exactly how it's going to work or what it's going to do, the second that they see that they can actually showcase their work for the customer or for other technicians, they jump at that opportunity. That's what I found, when we were implementing it too, because I had no idea how it was going to be adopted. But they absolutely love to be able to put that work on this type of platform and say, hey, this is a job well done.
Yeah, I think that great technicians care more about what the customer thinks than they care about what their boss thinks.
Yeah.
And that's important when it comes to technology. And I think you guys as owners would say the same thing. You want that to be the case. In the technology case, you don't want to have to hammer your guys to use technology. You want the customer to go, hey, Joe, hey, Sally, this is awesome. Thank you for sharing this with me. This helped me justify myself to my boss, or get a justification for preventative repair, whatever the case may be. That only takes a few of those, and now the hook is set. They're like, oh, nice. My customers like this. It's worth it. And then the other flip side is the CYA, because everyone has those customers that need to be put in check from time to time, So it's a good balance of the two.
Yeah, and Josh and I live in the world where we perform warranty service. Think about the strengthening of the relationship between the servicer and the manufacturer when you could actually show And listen, I know video's been around a long time, and we can take video on our phone. But sometimes to get that to someone, it's grainy. It's not as so easy for a lot of these guys on their phones to get these things. With these larger videos, this puts it in a hyperlink, and we just had an issue with a warranty service call that a video actually saved us. I don't know, Josh, if you're seeing any of that too. Like these videos are saving you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, especially with the warranty coverage, because the stipulations are so tight, and so are the margins. And so you have to be able to make sure that you're doing it according to the manufacturer's specifications. And if there's any questions, you can bet they're going to ask them, right? But yeah, we see that all the time, and they absolutely love being able to see these videos because then it eliminates all those questions, like I said before. So. Absolutely a huge tool for us in the warranty world.
Yeah, and I'm going to jump in with Quentin. So Quentin put in something here, which maybe Aaron, you want to touch on too. The use for in-house training with this tech would be highly useful. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that, because that is true.
Yeah, and I'll just give you some perspective of the two pieces, at least how I understand the question and how we think about what XOI can do. So. In-house training, super effective for being able to take content that's been created from the field and go, look at this really rare situation. You're not going to see this often. Here's a real situation we can train from. Same with live video. We actually work with a customer who has a mini trade school and a contracting firm, and they will actually live stream out to technicians having real issues and bring it back to their class. And let the young guys kind of interact with that person on site, which is really cool. So there's definitely some opportunities for that. I would say that what sets us apart and feature that we're really driving in the last year is kind of contextual micro learning opportunities, small bite-sized chunks of video to kind of guide a process, whether it's a preventative maintenance, a break fix, a warranty, an HVAC world, a chiller annual inspection, site surveys. And so we had a company come to us out of Texas that was like, hey, I've got a bunch of reservices and callbacks on my installations. We want to use live video to do this all the time. And we said, yeah, what do you do today? We got this 46-point checklist inside of Service Titan, and these guys kind of go through it. When do they do it? At the end of the day? He goes, no, at the end of every Friday. All the installs they did at the end of the week. And so we said, take your best install crew and go do that install just once and see how tight you can get it. That install crew got it to 12 video steps. We took those 12 video steps, 30 to 45 seconds a piece, and we put it in workflows for every other technician. This group has like 150 techs. That is a scalable way for contextual micro learning. 30-second clips. Think about these kids nowadays. That's what they get into. I always use the example of my poor sister who's getting married in a couple of weeks. Shout out to Maria. I swear she uses her phone for videos more than she does to actually make phone calls. So as an industry, if we can have these bite-sized chunks of information, contextual, I know I'm in front of this piece of equipment. What do I need to do? Boop, 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 boop. It's much more scalable than live video all the time. Live video is a shiny object. AR, cool, immersive, yes. But what is the thing as I grow my business that's right there for my guys in the field? And so long-winded answer, I know, to getting back to in-house training, still important, still having guys, but what happens 3 months later when they're going, I know we talked about how to do that pump compressor change out and I don't remember what happened. Oh, here's a 6-step video workflow on how to do that pump compressor change out. So yeah, just an example of how that can be used in an effective way.
Yeah. Oh, and let me jump in on that real quick, because you guys know that I'm just a little bit big on the skills gap, the skilled trades gap. And, I like to talk about the next generation of the workforce and stuff like that. And to Aaron's point, that is exactly how the next generation learns. If they want to learn something and they don't know it, they're sitting in front of the piece of equipment or whatever it is that they're trying to do. The first thing that they do is Google a video, or they go on YouTube and they look for a video. And now, that same concept is being introduced into, a single platform in XOI for people to do their jobs and learn in real time as they do them. I mean, it's just a remarkable piece when we talk about, being able to attract the next generation of technicians into the industry. So I just wanted to interject that before you go off to the next topic there, Rich.
No, hey, listen, blue is the new white. I mean, that is like the whole thing. And it's true, blue is the new white. And you know, talking about these young guys and gals that are out there, you know, technology. When we talk about, me and Josh say how to make the trade sexy and all that stuff. Technology in itself is kind of a sexy thing in the world we live in today. When you couple that together and you make these guys and gals realize it's way more than the old pictures you see with the overalls and the hammer and the tools. I mean, this is, you know, the smartphone, the tablet, all these things are part of the tool bag now. And there's Wi-Fi, there's data. I mean, you're computer technician in some of this stuff. So it's important for them to know. And I pulled some statistics too, just to talk about the trades. According to the Bureau of Labor, 68% of high school graduates go on to attend college. That is a big number, going right to college. And I just posted the other day from Mike Rowe that these kids are going to college to train and learn about jobs that don't even exist anymore. I mean, we have, you know, us getting on this platform right now and talking about it is super important. So what do we, let's just say we have an audience here that really needs to understand the importance of getting the next generation excited. What are we talking about next generation? Either one of you guys want to jump in?
Well, I mean, you know, okay, so let's start by talking about the stigma that surrounds the industry, right? I mean, everybody's kind of aware of it. Obviously, it's been gaining a little bit more traction these days, but you know, we see it everywhere. The perception of the skilled trades is almost second rate. It's second tier. It's what you do if you're not smart enough to go to college, right? So that's the narrative that we have to change. And in order to change that narrative, it takes effort from everybody. It takes effort from the school system, right? To be able to teach these life skills and even present it as an option, a viable option at that to their students. I mean, there's no reason why we can't incorporate the theory of refrigeration in science class, or, you know, combustion in physics, or how to read a tape measure in math class. This stuff doesn't cost any extra money. You know what I mean? And it's giving these kids the ability to understand and know that there are other trajectories available to them besides college. And then to your point, Rich, you know, making the industry sexy, you know, aside from us three having this conversation and putting our faces on display for everybody, you know, it really does take a lot of effort from the service companies out there to reach out and say, hey, you know what, maybe the industry has a marketing problem. Maybe that's what we mean, right? That the industry doesn't really know how to market itself to be a viable career, you know. So you have to look kind of beyond face value, right? We don't fix ovens and fryers. We give people the ability to effectively run their restaurant, right? We don't fix air conditioning and water heaters. We help people live their everyday life, right? And we don't just do plumbing. We don't just fix toilets. We bring the clean water in and the dirty water out, right? We keep people healthy in that sense. So I think there's a lot of things that can be done and that should be done and that are easy to do, you know, if we can collectively do them.
Yeah, agreed. I think the couple things, the marketing problem is real. And it's something I'm glad you mentioned, Josh, because I think about how we're marketed to growing up about college. Big party. Everyone saw, you know, our generation is old school, right? And then before that, what's the, gosh, it's escaping me. What's the super popular 70s college movie?
Oh,
Dazed and Confused.
That's one of them. It's a Belushi, right? Isn't he in it?
Oh, Animal House.
Animal House, gosh, it was escaping me.
Yeah.
Animal House, old school. Like, it's like, oh, go to college. It's a huge party, man. Like, let's go get ripped. Let's go hang out. It's going to be awesome. The marketing problem, it goes deeper than just, oh, look at the risk reward of this. Look at the ROI is really crappy. I think, and it's not a problem I'm going to give you an answer to, but I think one of the things we have to answer as a society is, how do you convince an 18-year-old, if they're as dumb as I was at 18, which I had it all figured out, right? I was going to go do my thing. And, you know, to me, it was party time. And so I think that the ability to go, yeah, look at somebody after that 4 years, $200,000 in debt, a whole lot of brain cells destroyed, and getting a job for $27,000 a year. trying to pay off that debt. Now, it's an interesting thing. I'm going to say something that maybe is maybe is a little bit off the beaten path, but is there marketing to say, look at the freedom that you have? If you want to go party and do your thing, have fun in life at some level, imagine how much more stress-free it will be when you're paying for everything and not putting yourself in debt the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Because I think the marketing problem is more than just, oh, let's make our industry look really cool. I think kids, I remember I work with a church, a youth group kids, and sometimes my potty mouth doesn't belay the fact that I'm a man of faith. But anyway, that these kids, man, they'd be reading these books and they would be like, dude, I'm going to go do this. This seems like fun. It's like all these guys that are like all their party stories, all the girls, whatever the thing is. And it wasn't even about education. It was about that. So how do we solve that problem? I don't have an answer to it, but I think that that's getting blown up. I think the second thing is personal responsibility. So I have two sons, 3 years old and 8 months old. And I'm like, what am I saying in my own vernacular that is contributing to this problem? My wife and I put together a college fund and kept calling it a college fund. And I threw water in my face one morning. I went, what am I saying? I'm just so used to this, right? Saying a college fund. It's against everything I believe in. And so I think it's an education fund or it's a life start fund. And if I give my kid a head start to start a plumbing company, awesome. I want to start a commercial kitchen business, HVAC business. I'm going to lean into that and give him a little bump in life to start. But I think we have to change how we talk about things because we have words ingrained in our dictionary that tells kids the whole time, college fund, college fund, college fund. What else are they going to do with it? You know what I mean? Go to college, because you've been basically telling them that's what it's for the whole time. So just a couple other ways to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. We have to change the narrative. That's one of the big things, and it's not going to be easy. But, and Josh and I have spoken about this, we're out there, advocates trying to do our best. But collectively, as an industry as a whole, we could do so much better. And, that's part of what Fed Nation was all about, getting people excited for video and putting their days and their weeks and their months out of their day-to-day. And interestingly enough, because of XOI, it kind of gave birth to a little series that and it's not even really a series, it's just putting technicians stuff out, hashtag through their eyes. And, I would encourage anyone maybe using XOI right now to start doing that. But, I'm getting footage every day. I'm getting tons of footage every day, pictures and video. And we're beginning to slowly use that to our advantage to show what the technicians are doing and put them through their eyes. So, Josh, Aaron, anyone who wants to talk about this, the importance of showing what these technicians are doing. That's what this technology is allowing us to do. A lot of capabilities now to put it out there on our platforms and sharing what the techs are doing through their eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple of different perspectives to look at this, right? From the customer's perspective, people fear what they don't know, right? And then when people get afraid, they end up lashing out with questions and doubt and, untrusting, stuff like that. And so that kind of, this breaks down that barrier, right? Because even though they may not know everything that is involved, they can see when a unit is working and when a unit is not working. And then additionally, it helps kind of bridge that gap and mitigate the concerns that they usually have, right? Well, I don't know what the technician was doing the whole time. I don't know, how they got from point A to point B. And it's not that, they weren't working to get there. Right? It's just that the customer doesn't understand. If you're in the field, they don't know. So to be able to see that, will not only eliminate the question as the service call is happening, but the questions after the service call is done, right? So to really build that trust. And then the second perspective is the general population, right? Not necessarily just from a customer standpoint, but all of the people who might have an interest in it, all of the people who might, run in the same circles, all of the kids who, like we talked about before, may be looking for a career option besides college, can look at these videos, Rich, to your point, and say, holy crap, like, I didn't realize all this stuff was involved. I didn't even realize this was a profession. You're telling me I can do this every single day? Like, I'm watching this tech go in and, count all these different wires, figure out which component is bad, troubleshoot that component, fix that component, and then leave, leaving somebody feeling happy and satisfied. It's all these different perspectives. I mean, it really, what does Roger always say? All the ships rise with the tide, right? And this is a perfect example of that.
I think that the skilled trades gap may have been helped with the pandemic. And I know businesses were not helped while it was happening. It was hard. And I don't mean to diminish that, but I think that people got a new definition of what essential meant. Right. Yeah. And they go, oh, these are essential businesses. That's what that means. And I think that, some things that were less essential, and again, I never throw shade at anybody, but maybe, bartending was less essential than somebody fixing an HVAC system. Not to say all you bartenders, I love you out there, but my point being, people are gonna put on their credit card to get their HVAC fixed, no matter how bad life is. Right. Whereas somebody that may get a drink if things aren't going well, or more drinks, you could argue either way. But I hope it had a positive impact on the trades in that way, so that people go, oh, we need to have commercial kitchen. We need to have HVAC that supports it, mechanical and plumbing that supports it. These are things we take for granted, and we need people to service. And I hope that made that impact. But you're absolutely right. The ability to be able to surface the value of what's being done there, and the intelligence of what it takes to do that. The men and women that do these jobs are really smart. And it is about time they get the credit for that, and also show younger generation what that means.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right too. I think that the pandemic definitely opened eyes to the actual civilized lives that we all live, and we need plumbers, we need electricians, we need HVAC guys, we need food equipment service techs, construction. I mean, we need all these people, and I think the more we do stuff like this, the more we get on and we have these fired up lives, and the more we talk about it and people are sharing it, we're gonna start making some headway. So, guys, listen, I want to keep this thing going. We don't have too many questions coming in here. Quentin just said disposable income attached.
Fields of work versus necessity-based work, meaning skilled trades is necessity-based work.
Exactly. So yeah, Quentin, that's it. That's what we have to keep talking about. Even in our own environments, we think our audiences might be too small. Your audience is not too small. If you have 40 people that care what you're saying, make sure you're putting it out there. All right, we have to let them know what's going on. Otherwise, they're not going to know. So, Aaron, what else do you have going on over there in Tennessee today? What else is going on XOI HQ that we need to know about?
Yeah, well, I can tell you that summer heat's here. So the contractors that are in this area are really happy. And Josh is like, bro, I'm in Arizona. I don't want to hear anything about summer heat. It's no summer heat. It's for Tennesseans, it's getting hot already. So that's good. I think one of the more interesting things that we're seeing lately is, more and more, you mentioned OEMs earlier in the call. I think there's something really interesting when you start to empower OEMs, distribution, and contractors. We're starting to see kind of the ecosystem come together, which is really interesting. You think about one of the biggest complaints of any contractor, especially in the last couple of years, is support has gotten horrible. I can't speak to the commercial kitchen space as much. Maybe you guys can tell me how that is, but I can tell you in HVAC, wait times are through the roof. Waiting on parts and information is through the roof. And yes, some OEMs are better than others, but it's gotten worse. The skilled trades gap impacts more than just the technician. It's the guy at the counter at the distributor who used to be a 62-year-old guy that could tell you all the pieces and parts you needed when you bought that motor. Now it's a 27-year-old who's like, yep, you need this. And the guy goes there on site and he goes, son of a, really? I got to go back because he didn't give me all the right stuff. That's what's happened at these OEM call centers too. They've got younger and younger people. The folks that know everything are retiring out of it. So I think opening, seeing, in XOI land, we're seeing a lot more of that kind of data flywheel effect start to take place. You see where people are wanting to share. Nobody wants a bigger call center. They're cost centers. So they're trying to figure out what's sustainable. And live video is an incremental step, but if you're not recording it, learning from it, and automating it across the path, then it's just a step. And so we're seeing some really cool things where we've got OEMs, distribution, and contractors all using the tool together. That's pretty powerful when you see that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and not only that, Aaron, but, expanding on that point, when you're talking about manufacturers and the delivery of this information, where I've seen a big impact too is, the installation, right? I mean, if XOI has typically been involved in the HVAC and refrigeration side of the industry, you know, the hot side and commercial kitchen space is very similar in that, you know, everybody has, all manufacturers, I mean, have their own rules, regulations, stipulations, procedures that they expect every service company to follow when they install these pieces of equipment. And, you know, to be able to broadcast that in video instead of a checklist is, I mean, it can, I would imagine, mitigate a ton of costs on their end. You know, I don't know what you've been seeing in the HVAC world, but that is greatly needed here in the commercial kitchen world.
Yeah, no question. It's a big and growing problem, and I think more tentacles of the skilled trades gap kind of showing it's rearing its ugly head throughout the industry. So our ability to capture that gold before people retire and all those libraries burn down, I think is going to be critical in the next decade.
Yeah. No, it's definitely going to be critical. You know, we talk about the knowledge base and all that, and you know, for us, you know, as a smaller business of 15 technicians, and obviously we have our sights set on bringing in younger guys. We just talked today about building out a PM team. You know, shout out to Lori out there getting all these new planned maintenance agreements. What are we going to do to get them done? You know, we have these younger guys. Hopefully I'm going to go talk to Lincoln Tech here in New Jersey. And, you know, when you bring these younger guys in, they went to technical school, and that's great, but the real world is a little different. And, you know, having something, I think, at our fingertips that we could actually, you know, like Aaron said, you know, we could take it and make this like an actual process instead of just taking, you know, video and, you know, what happens after that. Now we can actually take this and make a process of it for all the PM techs coming in and make them really good at what they do, because, you know, those 25, 30-year-old guys, same thing as the guy at the counter that knows his stuff. Where does all that go when they're gone?
Yeah.
You know, this is the put it.
Allow you to hire for attitude, not aptitude, and then teach the aptitude, you know? And you know, attitude is the most important thing. It doesn't matter how technically sound a tech is. If you can't get them to show up on time or treat your customers like crap, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a tool that should empower you to do that more effectively. And, you know, you can train them with stuff, but you can bring in good natured people.
And Aaron, thank you for bringing that up, because here's what I want to point out, and I think everybody listening and watching would agree with me on this, is that's the hesitation right now in the industry, right? That's the struggle that we're all having with this skilled trades gap. And that's why everybody's complaining about it, is because the industries are growing faster than we're being able to find people, but the industry is also growing faster than we're able to train people. And that is where XOI comes into play, you know, being able to put that structure in, because it's not necessarily about finding those people with the good attitude and the mechanical aptitude, right? It's about getting them from, okay, I've never turned a wrench before in my life, to I can be profitable in a truck, right? And the less time that takes, the faster our companies can grow. So that's how we're looking into utilizing it right now, to be able to create this trajectory for brand new techs entering into the industry and shorten that learning curve and that time frame, so we can actually start putting them to use and making them profitable on the street as quickly as possible, empowering them and empowering the company.
Yeah, love it. And listen, Quentin has a little something here for probably Aaron. So we have, is 3D rendering in the future of XOI tech? Would it be useful in the training aspect? Yeah,
so there's kind of more virtual or augmented reality. I think you could take kind of 3D in either way. There's some really cool tools out there. I think, you know, my friend Doug's Interplay Learning Company, I think a lot of people have been engaged with that. They've been kicking all sorts of ass. Really good training from a VR perspective there. I look at the future of XOI as continuing to be a conversational interface with the technician. I think eventually we will get to more and more visuals on you know, whether it be smart glasses or leveraging it through LiDAR enabled, you know, mature phones, things like that. But I continue to take the approach that a meaningful conversation with the technician to diagnose issues for at least the near term will be much more effective based on the user the normal user than being able to strap them up on a smart glass or LiDAR enabled phone. I can't tell you how many, 50% of the industry doesn't have field service management solution at all. I can't tell you how many $150 million revenue companies we work with that don't have smartphones in the field. So being able to start to bring meaningful solutions that techs will actually use and trust is step one. I think all that information we create today will be ingested into more mature, innovative platforms. And there will be a world in which a headset gets strapped on, it costs $100, it's safety glasses, and it walks you all the way through the stuff. I think that's coming, but we're taking incremental steps at a time. And I think there's so much mountain to climb that what's in front of us, we got lots of flip phones out there, folks. We get, you know what I mean? We got to take steps and make sure they're meaningful and they're providing value in real terms.
Yeah. Yeah. So the big takeaway from that is upgrade the flip phone, for Christ's sake. Upgrade the flip phones already. But yeah, no, I think that's it. We're just like, this is just the scratching the surface of the conversation today on this Fired Up Live. So just look if there's any more questions. We've already rocked this for about 30 minutes or so. So I know you guys got other things to get going. But I appreciate you guys being on this live. This is the first of many to come. We're going to keep this conversation going. I would say if you guys have any questions after this, or if you're rewatching it right now, you can still throw them in. I'll see the comments. I can get them to these guys. We can tackle some of these questions on the next live that we set up, because you're gonna see a lot more of these three faces together. So get ready, get fired up. These are the three most handsome faces on a Monday afternoon you're gonna see.
That's saying something. Must just be Monday afternoons, Rich. That must be what it is. There's not many handsome guys running around Monday afternoons. Hey, maybe next time you're in person, you're sitting in this conference room with me. How about that?
I would love that.
I'm down for that.
I'm down.
Let's do it. I'll try to grow my beard
hot chicken and whiskey. Let's go, Josh. You got it in you, dude. You got it in you.
Oh, I don't know. I've tried. It looks weird.
So guys, I appreciate it. Everyone out there, stay fired up and have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. We'll see you on the next Fired Up Live.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Rich.
Thanks,
Josh.